The next step inside of our game is to handle the functionality if the user clicks on the tick or the cross. So we're going to provide two functions, which is going to check if the user's guess is correct or incorrect and update the score. To do this inside of our index.html, we need to add a click handler to our buttons. So these are our two buttons inside of the match area. So for the correct button, we'll set up a function which is triggered with a onClick event handler called match. Then just below this, we'll also do the same, but this time the function is going to be called noMatch, and we'll handle what to do if the user thinks this choice is incorrect. Back over to our script, save this file, and before we get to work with adding these two functions, I'm going to create some variables up at the very top. We need to store both the correct number of items in the image and also the number which is displayed. This is so we can compare both of these values to see if the user's choice was correct. So the first variable is going to be called current image value. We can set this to be equal to an initial value of 0 and then update this once a new image has been generated. Separated by a comma, we can create a second variable called display number, and again initialize this as a value of 0. Just as a quick side note here, we are not using the let keyword in both occurrences here because we have separated these by a comma, so this is fine to do this way. Add a new comma just after our display number, and we can set a variable to set the current score, which is going to be initialized as 0. So now we have these values, we actually need to update these with the correct numbers. Let's start with our current image value. The way we can grab this, if we go down to our function, which is generate display number, inside of here we have the variable called number of items. So therefore we can grab this number and set our current image value. So let's do this. At the bottom of our function, we can set our current image value to be equal to our number of items. So now we have our current image value set, which is the correct number of items in the image. We now need to also update our display number, which is the same number which the user sees in the game. Remember, this is either the correct number, which was set inside the if section, or a false value, which is either one higher or one lower, and we'll set this in the else section. So first of all, inside the if section, which was the correct number, we set our display number to be equal to number of items. Just like above where we set this to the user interface, just below this, inside the else section, we display in the number of items, which is either one higher or one lower. So inside this section, we can also set our display number to be exactly the same, which is number of items, and then either one higher or one lower. So just before we create our functions which are linked to our buttons, let's check our variables are currently working. Inside the generate function, we can do two console logs. The first one is the current image value, which is the correct number of items. And then the second one is the display number, which is the number the user will compare against. Inside the console, right-click inspect, and then let's click on play. So to begin, we see the value of 0, 0, since we've not generated an image just yet. Then we have a correct match, 9 and 10 is incorrect, 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 and so on. So now we have these two values to compare against. We're going to create our two functions to check if the user is correct or incorrect. So let's remove this, and we can create our two functions. The first button triggered a function called match. So this match function is going to be responsible for checking if the current image value is equal to our display number. If it is, the user is correct, and we'll update our score. We can update the score by using a JavaScript ternary operator. So we can check if the current image value is equal to the display number. After the question mark, this means this section is true. We want to update the score with score plus plus. If not, we add a colon and the second condition. We want to deduct the score by the value of 1. So if the user has got this correct, the score will increase. If not, the score will decrease by 1 too. Then we can also update the DOM with document.get element by ID. And this is the section just here which we want to update. Over to our index.html, we can update this span with the ID of current score. So let's grab this, and we can also remove the default value, add this in, and then we can set the inner HTML to be equal to our score variable. Next we have the second button, which has the function name called nomatch. So this is going to be pretty similar, so let's copy this, paste this just below. This is going to be called nomatch, and we want to pretty much do the reverse of what we've done here. We want to check if the user believes that the current image value is not equal to the number which is being displayed. We can do this rather than the triple equals. We're going to use the exclamation mark, and this will check if the current image value is not equal to our display number. If this is correct, this means the user has got this right and it will update the score. If they are wrong, it will deduct a point and then update the DOM. Let's give this a try. We can click on play. And in fact, we'll just update our timer to give us some more time. So 5 seconds, click on play. There's 6 ducks, so let's click on the tick. This is correct, and we get a score. 12 pencils. That one's fine. There's 7 cakes, but if we click on the X, we should see a score has been deducted. Okay, good. So now this is all working, and we can update the score. In the next video, we're going to come back to the score and display it to the user at the end of the game.